So CereBRO is a pretty weird card. It's a 3 cost, 0 power, ongoing. Your highest power cards get +2 power. So there's a bunch of different decks that say essentially CereBRO what? CereBRO all cards at 2 power, or all cards at 3 power, all cards at 4 power, etc. So this is my take on CereBRO 3, which is cards at 3 power. It's a little bit of a weird take, I think, but it's super fun. And if you guys have most of these cards, give it a shot. But there's also a lot of cards you can fill in, anything with 3 power, essentially. But the main thing you got to know is you don't want your cards to be able to get beyond 3 power on their own, okay? So you don't want to play things that are going to get above 3 power. But we're using Bast, so Bast is a really cool Series 4 card. He's a 1/1. On reveal, set the power of all cards in your hand to 3. So this is a nice way to be able to, you know, reset things in your hand to 3. If you can run things that are more than 3, but the main value here is to boost things from 0 to 3 or from 1 to 3. So as a 1/1, you want to play him early, and ideally you want to hit Adam Warlock, who at the end of each turn, if you're winning that location, you'll draw a card. This really helps you find CereBRO consistently in this deck, which is the main important factor of this deck. You can also hit just CereBRO itself. It'll then be a 3 power, and it will give itself the +2 power, which is really nice. And you can also hit, in this deck, Mystique, who on reveal will copy the last ongoing ability played this turn, or actually any turn. So you can even play Mystique the next turn, and then it'll copy CereBRO when you played her the last turn. So Mystique is in there just to copy really CereBRO, but she could copy Cosmo at a different location. She could also copy Colossus. It's not really that important. You just want to copy CereBRO. I actually ran Iron Man in this deck a little bit as well. You could copy Iron Man if you want, and Bast is kind of fun with Iron Man since he could set Iron Man to 3 power, which is cute, but not all that great. Then I'm using Zero here, who on reveal remove the abilities of the next cards you play. He's okay. He's a 3 power for 1. He's okay in this deck. He's a really good card, but in this deck, he's mainly kind of used for, on turn 6, you want to play him last. You want to get a little bit extra power out at the end of the game. Yeah, drop him there, get an extra 3, but it could be a possible 7 with, Mystique and with CereBRO. And that's kind of his main value here. But if not, you could just play 0 and then play, Colossus or Sentinel or anything like that. And that's our other 2 drops. We're running Colossus, who just has a good ongoing ability, and Sentinel, who will give us additional 3 power units for cheap, which is really huge for this deck. Then we're running some really fun 3 drops. I'm running Cosmo for shutdown. I'm running Juggernaut for a little displacement. There's a lot of good combos with Juggernaut. He on reveals if your opponent's played cards here this turn, move them randomly. So it just kind of shifts the cards that your opponent played at that location to a different location, which can just screw up a lot of things. It can be really location dependent. It can just screw up things if a location's shut out. It can just screw their order of operations. If you're playing against a destroy deck, it messes that up. Super fun card. I like to put Juggernaut in a lot of places. Really fun card. And then I'm using Rhino. He's actually really important for this deck. I think he's a little bit underrated for CereBRO decks in general. He's really important. He, on reveal, ruins this location, so removes its ability, right? He just turns it into ruins. He's very good because CereBRO decks are a little bit reliant on not finding a location that's going to boost the power of their cards. So if you get like Xandar, which gives all the cards +1 power there, that screws all of CereBRO up, right? CereBRO is only giving your highest power cards +2 power. So if an entire location is getting additional power, that location will shut down the rest of your locations power-wise, and only they will get the boost. So Rhino's huge for shutting down those locations. Nidavellir, Xandar, etc. Really important. Then I'm using some really fun 4-drops. I mean, Shang-Chi, who doesn't love Shang-Chi? We're not running anything that big, so we don't really have any, huge mana restrictions late in the game, and if they're playing some huge units like Red Skull or anything big at all, you just blast them off the board with Shang-Chi. And then I'm using Absorbing Man, also 3 power, one of my favorite cards in the game, really. But he can copy some really fun on-reveal effects here. He can copy, Rhino, if you want to get a second Ruins out, which is fun. He can copy Juggernaut, which is really good. To be able to just disrupt them twice in a row is super fun. He could copy Shang-Chi late in the game. It could, screw some people up a little bit and get double kills. But he can even copy Mystique. You can copy that if you play, him on top of Mystique. That's pretty fun. Although, I gotta actually test that. In theory, I'm thinking it works, but on reveal, if the last card you played has an ongoing ability, this card gains it. So I don't know how that would work, because I'd play Absorbing Man, and the last card I'd play would be Mystique, but she would at that point have this ongoing. In theory it works, but there could be a weird interaction where it doesn't. I know Absorbing Man's had some weird interactions. But he could also just copy Sentinel and get an additional Sentinel in your hand. He's just really good for this deck, and he's got 3 power. So that's the deck, guys. I hope you find it fun. I hope you guys like CereBRO. I need to play around with this card even more than I do. It's a really fun deck. I'm going to jump right into some gameplay now, hopefully highlight some fun times with the deck as we move on. All right, let's do it. All right, not a bad starting hand here. We got Bast and Adam Warlock, which is pretty fun. Always a good combo. And then we got Mystique and Cosmo. So I'm going to play Bast, but I'm not going to play Adam Warlock. I want him to get the 3 power from Bast first, so I'm going to do that. Drop that 3 power on my whole hand, which is great. The Kiln is there, so that's an interesting card. That's going to have some weird things going on. You know what? I will go Cosmo to start. I'm going to go Cosmo in the middle in case he's got anything funky going on at the Kiln. Try to shut down that. I mean, if I can win this early, or at least put decent power there and find CereBRO later, that'd be great. But I do really want to play Adam Warlock soon, because I want to get that +3 power and drawing cards. It looks like he also wants to draw cards because he's playing Adam Warlock over there. All right, we got CereBRO, so that's huge. So I'm going to go with CereBRO and Adam Warlock on this location, I believe. You know what? I don't want him to win the cards, win the location where Adam Warlock is, because I don't want him drawing more, but I already found what I need. So I think I'm actually going to go Adam Warlock in the middle. I did that backwards. I don't think he's going to play into Kiln very much. I'm going to go Adam Warlock there just to get the card draw going, and then I'm going to drop CereBRO over there. Alright, so now everything's at 5 power, except Bast. Of course, Bast won't be. He's shutting down that location, which I think I'm alright with, but we'll see what I draw. I might end up trying to play into it, because I could drop decent power there as well. Let's see. Alright, we're going to play into it. So we're going to go Mystique. That will copy CereBRO. And then I'm going to go Colossus and Sentinel. But I'm actually going to go Colossus first, Sentinel next, so then Absorbing Man would copy Sentinel instead. It's a little bit of a turn order of operations thing. You got to make sure you play CereBRO before you play Mystique, and Mystique's got to be the next card played, so she copies that. If I would have played Adam Warlock last, it would have been bad. She would have copied nothing. Alright, so Mystique hits the board, Colossus hits the board, Sentinel hits the board. We get 21 power at the right location, which is a ton of power, thanks to Elysium making everything so cheap. But he played Arrow, so everything's going to shift over. But never mind, we got Cosmo. I forgot. I'm like, why didn't things shift over? And only 2 things would have anyway. But he played Arrow into Cosmo. Not enough power at all. We got Shang-Chi. Doesn't really matter at this point, because I reveal first. So I really just need to play 2 cards. I'm going to go Juggernaut and Absorbing Man. I mean, Sentinel would have been fine, but just for the giggles of double displace. So they're going to both come down. They're both going to be adding 7 power. Definitely snap. Feel real good about it. I think I snapped too late. But yeah, I'm going to kick that card right out of there with Juggernaut, which is great. So he won't be at this location. They're both providing 7 power. Gamora comes down, gets nothing, and we clear the board for that turn. That felt really good. And now we got the last turn coming up. I can't play anything. He can only play things here, and I'm winning these 2 lockdown locations. So at least the snap will go into this 6th turn. Obviously, I wish it went into the 5th turn here, but that's okay. Yeah, I mean, I could have just played Juggernaut and then saved Absorbing Man. Maybe that was a slightly better play, just to see, or save that spot so I could have played Shang-Chi on turn 6. But I felt confident just throwing everything down. I had the other locations locked, but that might have been a way to be able to get that going on. The only thing I wish I did that game better was snap a little bit sooner, but it felt great. Let's get some more. All right, so we got a little bit of a weird hand. We got Absorbing Man, Cosmo, Juggernaut, and Shang-Chi. So none of our great early start stuff, but that's all right. Stark Tower's there, and Fisk's Tower there. So Fisk's Tower is a fun card with Juggernaut, because if we bounce things into that, they could die, which is really fun. You just got to get a little lucky. But I obviously will just go Sentinel for now. Looks like he's playing into that for now. No cards are going to be revealed this turn. That's interesting. So I'm going to go, and we drew CereBRO. It's great. I'm not going to play it yet. I'm going to see if I draw Mystique. You kind of want to wait a little bit. Make sure you haven't drawn Mystique first. Alright, so we got Bass now as well, which is pretty good. It could give the CereBRO the 3 power, or we could just play a 4-cost card ourselves. Our 4-cost cards don't do anything as of yet. So I'm going to go Best, and then I'm going to go Juggernaut over here. It's a risk, but I can also just play Absorbing Man to copy Juggernaut next anyway. But Best is going to give CereBRO 3 power. Alright, so I'm guessing, just a guess, Cosmo just won this game for me and revealed himself. Opponent instantly retreats. Guessing this was some pretty good on-reveal stuff underneath, but we'll take it. That's why you play Cosmo, guys. Alright, we got Lamentus destroying our decks. Jeez. Just trying to read off my opening hand and my whole deck gets obliterated. Alright, so we got CereBRO, Absorbing Man, Colossus, Warlock, Mystique, and Juggernaut. So Adam Warlock's dead, because I won't have anything in my deck. Unless one of these things shuffles some stuff in my deck, like the Vibranium or something, Adam Warlock is completely and utterly useless. He likes it. I'm out. No thanks. No thank you. Alright, so we got Zero, CereBRO, and Juggernaut. Hell's Kitchen on the first location is huge. We get to draw Bast, and we're going to get to turn CereBRO and Mystique both into 3 power cards, which is absolutely fantastic for us. Let's see if we draw a 2-drop. Alright, we don't. So we don't want to play Zero right now because we want to go into turn 3 playing most likely CereBRO Mystique. Now we could just save those for turn 6, which we might, and just try to drop both of those there. But until I know I have something else to play after Zero that's a little bit better, I'll holster him. You could also put Blade in this deck in that type of spot as well. So I don't think he's going to be destroying things, so I am not afraid to play Zero into Colossus right now. I feel totally okay doing that. And I'll just play Colossus on the right. Yeah, I think. The other option here, actually, you know what? I think a better option is actually playing Juggernaut here on the left. So I wanted to holster for a second, so nothing can go in Miniaturized Lab on either of our sides, so Juggernaut can actually put whatever he puts down here into Space Throne, which feels pretty good, because it'll force a kind of weak card over there. Yeah, exactly. So force Mr. Fantastic. Always take a second and think if you're like me, because sometimes I just play my cards too fast. Alright, so that feels good. He's over there, which is great. We're going to go ahead and go with Cosmo into Zero. So Zero is going to hold down the right location, and yeah. So we won. Just because we thought for a second, we got a nice win. But anyway, talking through the rest of this, Cosmo was going to come down, Zero go over here. My turn 5 was either just going to be Shang-Chi or Colossus getting their effect removed. You know, just play Colossus on the left or whatever. Turn 6, CereBRO and Mystique on top of Miniaturized Lab, and we dominate. I mean, that's huge. That's going to be, what, 7 power for all our 3 costs. It's going to be 14 power in the middle, 7 power over here, and then 21 power plus 122 power on the left. Would have felt great. I mean, you see the curve. Hell's Kitchen obviously helped us out a lot drawing Bast here, but I mean, the curve of that, just absolutely incredible deck curve there that just let us completely, I mean, we didn't even get to do it because Juggernaut won a game. It's the hilariousness of Juggernaut, but that curve would have been so fantastic. Really, really hard to beat there. I mean, we would have had a lot of power all over the place. And, you know, really we just had to be wary of, like, Enchantress in a game where you're riding on Mystique and CereBRO. But when they're going where Ebony Maul is, or you're playing them on turn 6, you can avoid that a lot. So hopefully you guys like the deck. Hopefully you enjoy CereBRO as much as I do. Super fun card. If you have any other takes on CereBRO 2, 3, 4, whatever, drop them in the comments below. I'd love to check them out and maybe make a video on them. Alright guys, make sure you subscribe to the channel, follow us on Twitter, follow us on wherever you get your fun stuff, on Discord, whatever it is. Like the video, leave a comment, and as always, see you next time. Keep on snapping.